Hey guys, Matt here at the Tools Artista, here to do a Mimighoul deck profile today. Been playing this for a little bit, came out in info, but with the new support from Rage of the Abyss, it's gotten really powerful. So, starting off, normally you just like with the flip monsters in the control deck, our strategy is mainly going to be relying around setting monsters to the opponent field. So to start off, I typically run 3 Dragon, 2 Master, and 3 Archfiend. Dragon's going to be your number 1 starter because this searches a Mimighoul spell or trap from your deck to hand. You're mostly going to be searching Mimighoul Maker to get things started. Allows you to set 1 to your opponent's field, add 1 to hand, and then special summon a Mimighoul from your hand. But setting 1 to your opponent's field is very important. This can also banish itself from the grave to flip up that face monster. So most of the time you're going to set slime to you're going to like reveal slime. Oop, let me just reorganize this a little. Most of the time you're going to set Mimighoul Slime to their field, revealing Slime and Archfiend to their field, and then you're going to flip it up. This will allow you to special a Mimighoul from deck. Most of the time you're going to be setting Master at that point, or in the case that this gets added to your hand, you'll flip this face up using from the effect of Maker to allow yourself to draw a card, hand rip from them, and then it'll be on your side of the field. Dragon's going to be your number 1 starter, aside from Mimighoul Master. We have multiple ways to get into the field spell as well. Slime also has another effect, so in case it doesn't get special summoned to your opponent's field face down, it's got another effect that if your opponent controls more monsters than you, you can special it to your side of the field as well, giving you that extra body to do either Xyz or Link plays going on. But we'll get more into that in a little bit once we go to the extra deck. Aside from that, I also run 1 Armor, 1 Cerberus, and 2 Fairy. These are mostly going to be the cards you're going to set on your opponent's field for their turn. Mimighoul Armor, protecting your Mimighouls from battle in case you're up against like in a 10-pie matchup or they're just putting beaters on the board sort of thing. Cerberus to banish from top 3 allows you to mill your opponent, and Fairy to stop effects of special summon monsters from your opponent's hand. So in an example of a Kashtira, if you flip Fairy, they special summon Fenrir. Fenrir's not going to be able to go off. Fairy also has another effect. If you control Mimighoul, you can also special summon it from your hand, similar to how Slime works. I run 2 just in case I need that extra turn to OTK, because there are times when you won't have your field spell on the field. Going more into the field spell itself, Mimighoul Dungeon, the bread and butter. While this is up, it kind of stuns your opponent. They have a face-down monster. They won't be able to normal summon. So getting this on the field is what you want to do as fast as possible. It also gives your Mimighouls attack equal to their defense. So in the case of, if we go back to Mimighoul Master, it's going to give him 3k attack on your opponent's turn. So, and additionally, if they do special summon a monster, they can't attack with them that turn, which will instead give you that extra time you need to continue building your board and set the control in your favor. Also, while it's on field, you can search any Mimighoul monster with it. A little weak when it comes to Ogre, but we're not seeing a whole lot of it in the meta at the current moment, making it a very strong card. Most of the time, you'll use this to search Master after using Dragon. And then normal summon, and then use your normal summon for Master to continue the effects going. Okay, on to the last little bit of the engine. We run 1 Mimighoul Charm, 2 Fork, and 3 Mimighoul Room. We run 1 Charm just in case, because if we ever draw into this, or if we have the extra search for it, it'll allow us to rip from our opponent's extra deck and special summon it to our field when a monster's flipped face up on their field. It's once per chain, but twice per turn. So for example, against Branded, if you ever do this, you're going to steal like combo pieces, Mirror Jade, Albion, Lubellion, stuff like that. Since it specifies that it can only special summon monsters that don't have an effect that says otherwise. So if it says must be fusion summoned, must be synchro summoned, we won't be able to summon it to our field, banishes it instead, still getting that out of their extra deck. But if you pull like a generic Link monster, it can be really, really strong for you, like an SP Little Knight from the top of the deck. Mimighoul Fork. It allows us to force our opponent to make a choice. So, you fork, you target a face-down monster for cost. change it to face up or face down defense, or they send it to grave, and you get to draw 2 cards. This allows us to force potential interactions, especially if they wanted just to send it to grave and have to draw 2 cards. If we have quite a big advantage, or they have quite a big board, and we set a dragon to their field, they might not want to flip it face up and worry of their whole board being destroyed, so they'll send it to the grave, giving us that +2 card advantage going into our next turn. Allows us to draw like Ash, Droll, Imperm, like hand traps, or even follow up for the next turn. You're on 2 because it also has a banish effect to search the other one. You'd only use once per turn, but it's always good to just have that extra card in your hand, just in case you need a discard, or just in case you need a discard. And then Mimighoul Room. Mimighoul Room is it's very good. You're going to be searching this. I run 3 in the deck because even though it is searchable, most of the time you're going to be spending your search looking for Maker, as I said earlier with Dragon. And while this card is a very good card to go, because you'll special summon a Mimighoul from hand or deck to your field or your opponent's face down defense. So in case you need that body just to save yourself from an OTK, you're going to special summon it to your field and defense, or to your opponent's field and face down defense to keep up the effects of Dungeon, as we spoke about earlier, or to flip face up with Master. A lot of times you may just want to summon the armor to their field to help you survive the battle phase, in case you only have the 1 monster on the board, or maybe you'll summon the slime, flip it face up, and go from there. It has the additional effect of banishing the card. You can return as many Mimighouls as you control back to your hand, potentially saving them from a board breaker, Raigeki, evenly matched, etc. So banishing that effect, then it'll allow you to get to save your hand, because you do not want these cards to be banished. That's all for in-engine. Going non-engine, we run 1 Terraforming, 1 Prosp, just for generic searchers. Prosp because your extra deck is more of a tool box for yourself. So if you don't need certain parts of it, depending on the matchup, you can just get rid of them, allow yourself to go back into the combo. Terraforming just another way to search the field spell in case we need it, because like I said, it's your bread and butter. We also run 2 Triple Tactics talents, our Thrust and 2 talents, because when we flip up the Mimighouls on their opponent's field, it counts as them activating the effect, allowing us to then, so for example, if we flip something face up, we can then use talents to draw 2, rip a hand, or Thrust. We can search Mimighoul Room, we can search the Terraforming, or we can search any of our other spells or traps that we've maybe sided in for the matchup. So just really good tech in the side. We run 2 Droll just for Azamina, White Forest, Branded. Like a lot of the big names nowadays, they're doing a lot of searching. Droll just really slows that down. It doesn't affect us too much, as mostly we're special summoning from deck rather than searching. It does stop the draw effect from Archfiend, but other than that, it's still a really, really good option to just have it in the main deck in case we need it. Additionally, 1 Tickaboo. Tickaboo is always solid, especially with how many different types that we run. With all of the Mimighouls being a different type, save from our extra deck monsters, you'll most likely always never have to send anything, but it really puts your opponents in a bind if you are to flip up, say, Mimighoul Dragon, and then imperm it or negate it in some way, since it is your opponent's monster, stopping them from summoning dragons in case of like a bestial situation. 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, and 3 Shifter. So these are just very standard. Imperm for obvious reasons, just a really good negate target, being able to, set it, everything. Ash for obvious reasons, and Shifter because a lot of our effects don't rely on the graveyard. They mostly just rely on our cards being on field, and we have so many ways to stop them from leaving the field. So Shifter's a really good way to be able to go into these combos. Yeah, we don't get the additional effects from Mimighoul Maker or Mimighoul Room, but hopefully it will allow us to get an advantage going second in case we need it. Moving on to the extra deck, we run a standard link package into Access Code Talker. So we run Anima because we're all level 1s, Little Knight, and IP Mask. You're most likely going to be ending on IP Mask. to link directly into SP Little Knight. Then we have the Nightmare Unicorn for the discard and draw, access code, and the Underworld Goddess just for some extra removal, and this gives us more of a potential to OTK on the opponent turn. So pretty standard there. And then when we get into the Xyz, we run an Embodiment of Crime. It has an effect that will flip all face-up monsters on the opponent's field face up, allowing us to potentially get a lot of effects going on. We set Slime, we set Slime, we set Armor, we set any number of things, then we get all those effects right on your first turn, allowing us to potentially wipe their board, get all the monsters we need, and then OTK. We also run an Assembled Nightingale. Assembled Nightingale is good for just, poke damage or building Zeus in case we need it. So we build this. If we can't swing over, we swing directly. Downward Magician, and then Zeus in the main phase 2 of our turn, just to kind of give us like that extra bit of removal in case we need it. We run 2 Throne and 2 Giant Mimighoul for the Mimighoul extra monsters. We run 2 Throne because a lot of the times if your master gets banished or sent to the graveyard, this will be the number one way. If it gets into the graveyard or you just don't have access to it, this will be the number one way you get the master out. Detach a material, summon a master, get the master effect. It also has a quick effect, so while it has material, you can quick effect, target a master that you have on field, equip it to as an equip spell, and then return cards on the field up to the hand, up to the amount of material that it had on it. So with 1 material, you detach a material to use to summon a Mimighoul master. Still got the 1 material left, so you can on your opponent turn, quick effect, target your master, equip it, it'll gain its 1,000 attack, and then you'll spin a card back to the opponent hand. It's any card on the field, so it's any card on the field, so you can use it to send Nightmare Throne, Sangan Summoning, maybe one of the Tenpai NEU Bell monster. It's really good just to be able, just for that that good amount of removal. It's also non-targeting, so it especially gets around that. Giant Mimighoul is going to be a big OTK potential, just because it allows your non-Xyz Mimighouls to swing directly. So if we have all of our little Mimighouls on there with a Mimighoul Master equipped with a Throne, especially on a turn it wasn't summoned with Dungeon Up, it's going to have 4,000 attack. Swinging that directly into the face without having to interact with, your opponent's board and just swinging it face is always going to be very strong. You can also once it's at CE summon, you can search for any Mimighoul card in your deck. So in case you don't, in case you've lost a dungeon, in case you need the extra bodies, in case you need a maker just to kind of extend your way into that OTK, you'll be able to. You can also detach a material from this card, target the face-up cards on my opponent field equal to the face-down cards they control, destroy them, and then they'll take 1,000 damage for each one destroyed. Incredibly good removal tool, because if this stays on field, say you set 3 monsters to your opponent's turn, you can blow up all of their back row, the monsters they have on field, and their field spell, while also dealing that important burn damage to them. You do 2 or 3, that's 2,000 or 3,000 damage. Swing over with Mimighoul Master, swing over with your little guys, you almost certainly have game at that point. And then last, we've got Downward Magician, Zeus, as we spoke about earlier, and the Superstar Flayer, Typhon. I still believe Typhon's a really good card. It's a great way to spin a card back to hand, but it also stops a lot of those bigger monsters out there with the extra deck, such as Tenpai, if you can survive that long, and other major threats. So mostly your goal is going to be, in a real game, your main goal is just going to be having Master on the field to be able to flip face up on your opponent's turn, having a Dungeon on the field to be able to protect these monsters, and then a Charm just so you can start ripping from their extra deck if they don't need it. This deck does really good against archetypes that really need to use their normal summon. Bell, they won't be able to summon Lotus, they won't be able to summon Squirmer. They'll most likely have to use their spells, they'll have to get a Nightmare Pain out there just to be able to normal summon and get something going. But if you can prevent them from ever destroying this, then their normal summon's gone. They can't really reach full combo the way they want to. Ripping from the extra deck is also very strong as well. Rip a Phantom out of the deck. Ripping any of the Tenpai pieces out of the deck, it's really going to heighten your experience. And as for that, it's really, so like It's pretty standard deck list. It's still evolving as an archetype. I'm very excited to see if we're going to get more support in the future, maybe a couple more spells, maybe a new trap, a new boss monster for the extra deck, but that's all for now, and thanks for watching.